All right, so we're going to talk about this thing. It's called Just Mercy Theme Trackers. So when you get into um, the assignment, let me do this real quick. So let's hit edit. Okay, when you get into the assignment, there's lots of instructions there, but we're going to be using this for a while. So when you see this on your classwork page, it's going to be under long-term assignments, which if you're watching this video, you have successfully found. But this is going to help us as we're working toward the essay that we will write when we finish the book. So, when we finish Just Mercy, we will not take a test over the book. We will be writing a theme analysis essay, and this is going to help us gather evidence for that essay. So, a couple weeks ago, I had you complete. I think it was called theme statement practice, where I asked you to watch a Pixar short and I asked you to pick a theme topic that the story or the short film might be about. And then I asked you to develop a theme statement, and that all came from that "What is theme" video that I asked you to watch, which I'm also attaching to this assignment so that it will be there as a reminder. But just to remind you, a theme is not a topic. A theme is a complete sentence and is a general truth about life. So that's what our goal is to develop, but we can't develop the theme of a text until we have finished the text. And it's going to take us a while to do that. So, in order for us to be able to get some of the work done for the essay as we're reading, what I'm asking you to do is to choose two topics, and you're going to be tracking the progression or the development of those two topics as we go through the book. Okay. So down here at the bottom, there is a list that says topic/concept brainstorm list. What that is just a very comprehensive list of theme topics that Just Mercy deals with. Okay, so these are all kinds of things that you might want to talk about. You may choose something straight from this list. You may come up with something similar or something that's not on this list that you think the book is about. But based on what you've read so far, you're going to come up with two topics or concepts that this book deals with. Okay, and then your job is just to find evidence about that theme or concept throughout the book. Okay, so I put here if one of your topics or concepts is justice, then you're going to log page numbers and quotes from the text in which Stevenson, the author, makes a statement about justice or shows the importance of justice or shows a failure of justice, things like that. So you're going to be looking at the characters, the events, the rhetoric, the words that he uses, quotes. You're going to be looking for all kinds of things that have to do with the topic or concept that you choose. And again, you have a huge list of things that you could talk about. So justice is just an example that I used. You're going to use all of that to develop a theme statement. So when you look at the assignment page that you're actually going to be doing your work on, you'll put your name, your class period, and then the topic that you've chosen. There are all of these boxes for you to be logging information and textual evidence here, and then like your thoughts goes on notes and analysis. So all of that's going to help you generate a theme statement. Okay, so let me show you the example that I created. I used a different text. So I actually used a short story that I read over the summer. It's called A New England Nun. And I have the link to that story here if you want to read it, but you don't have to. I'll just give you a quick synopsis. So, A New England Nun is about this woman. Her name is Louisa. She is engaged to a man. They got engaged, I think it's like 15 years before when they were very young, but he didn't have any money. And it's set in like the late 1800s, I think. But he didn't have any money, so he decided he was going to go off and like make his fortune. So he went to Australia, I believe, and started working. And he's been working for like 15 years to make his fortune so that he can provide for them. So he's come back 15 years later. They haven't seen each other since then. Like they've written some letters. But they haven't seen each other for those 15 years, and he's come back to marry her. But the problem is, Louisa, in that time, she was living with her mother and her brother. They're both gone. Her mom died. I think her brother may have also, or at least he's moved away. But she's like created this life for herself. She's very independent. This home is her home. She's made it exactly the way she likes it. So when Joe comes back to marry her, she's not super excited about it anymore. She doesn't really know who this man is anymore. And he kind of feels the same way. Like he doesn't know her. He actually kind of feels uncomfortable in her house because he feels like him being there makes her nervous. So what I did is I chose the topic personal happiness, and let me check my time. Okay. I went through the story and I found examples of times where Louisa was happy or Joe was happy. I found times when they weren't happy. I found times when their actions kind of contradicted their own personal happiness. So let's see. Um, Here, like page 12, when Joe Daggett first comes home, like her first emotion is not relief or excitement, it's consternation or like frustration. And she doesn't want to admit it to to him because she's too polite. But that's definitely not what you should feel when your fiance comes home after 15 years. Page 8, she has this little yellow canary, and the canary is used to symbolize her. So every time Joe comes in the house, the canary like throws a fit, and it's how she's feeling on the inside, but she can't express it. Um, it says her life, especially for the last 7 years, had been full of a pleasant peace. She'd never really missed Joe. So I talked about all of these examples where them trying to force this marriage to happen isn't cohesive with their personal happiness. So then I did that through the whole story. I've got the page numbers. I've got my thoughts over here in this column. So I used all of that. I went through the whole story and found all of this evidence, and that brought me to this theme statement. So when I finished the text, I developed a theme statement using all of my evidence. I looked back over my evidence and my thoughts and all of that stuff and came up with this theme statement. Personal happiness isn't achieved by following society's expectations, but by creating a lifestyle that brings one pleasure. Okay. So I can then use that theme statement to write my essay. Okay. So that's kind of what you're going to be doing, but your text is going to be a lot longer than the one I used for the example, and you're going to be doing that for 2 topics. The reason I am having you do that for 2 topics is not because I want you to do more work, but because I don't want you to pick a topic at the beginning of the book and then get stuck with it and not actually find anything. I want you to have some options. So you'll pick 2 topics from that list, or use the list to kind of generate your own ideas, and you'll be looking for evidence in the book of that topic being developed or addressed as you read. And then we will use that to develop a theme statement at the end of the book. When we get there, then I'll give you more instructions on writing that essay. But this is something, my suggestion is that every time you finish a chapter, you come back to this assignment, you find some evidence, you put it in there, make sure you've got the page numbers and all that stuff, and you're helping future you so that you've done most of the heavy lifting when it comes time to write the essay. Okay? As always, if you have any questions, let me know. Shoot me an email, put a comment on this assignment, whatever it may be. But that is what we're going to be working on. So please, please, please don't totally ignore this. Do it chapter at a time. If you don't find anything in a chapter, that's fine, but make sure every reading guide you're going back and looking at this theme tracker and finding evidence so that when it comes time to write the essay, you'll be like, oh man, I already did most of the work. I've just got to put this into paragraph format. So that is the goal, is that when we get to the essay time, we are totally prepared and we have all of our evidence already. And it's not a struggle to come up with your thesis statement or your theme statement when we get to that time. Okay?